food for thousands of years, long before Christopher Columbus came, forcing them to import their food from American agribusiness. Imperialism is Africa. Imperialism is, Nigeria being the top oil exporting country in Africa, having the most and exporting the most of a very valuable commodity on the world markets, but still being a country that's dirt poor because their oil is run by ExxonMobil, BP, Shell, and Chevron. Nigeria does not control Nigerian oil. Nigeria is rich with oil, but the people of Nigeria are poor, and they don't have a functioning educational system. They have mass illiteracy, and they have a low life expectancy. They are poor, though their country...
Goddamn Caleb Maupin, goddamn. He's just shitting all over Nigeria, ain't he? You know, it convinces me most about Caleb Maupin, just how much of a stuck-up fucking professor, just an asshole. His snobbery is just fucking top-notch. Caleb Maupin, he is just such a stuck-up, pile of shit that I guess he's just better than us, smarter than us. We just all need to get on board. And he's getting paid by Russia, RT. So he can't be biased in any way, shape, or form when it comes to imperialism. Lee Camp is owned by Russia, today to TV too. And wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald a Russian spy or something? And what about the damn Rosenbergs? So Caleb goddamn Maupin. Caleb Maupin thinks he owns the world imperialism. Caleb Maupin does not own the world imperialism. He does not own the word imperialism. So I got a whole bunch of notes here, kind of a literature review. No. Let's just, let's see what's going on in Ukraine. Let's try to figure this shit out. The biggest thing with Caleb Maupin and his damn definition is that Lenin's definition of imperialism seems to only apply to capitalist countries. So I can, see how capitalist countries' imperialism is, much more predatory, parasitical than socialist nations. But socialist nations, they can be imperialist too. Imperialism is about one nation state dominating another nation state. It's about authoritarianism, totalitarianism. It's about oppression. You're saying what? Because the person calls themselves a communist, they can't oppress another sovereign nation against their will? And I also believe imperialism is colonialism. You have a colony, you have, you're taking other people's land, other people live there, but you're going to put a colony of your own people. That's fucking imperialism. U.S. went imperialist in 1898 after the Spanish-American War. We acquired Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. We held the Philippines against their will. We massacred the shit out of thousands of them. We're an empire because we got colonies. If we adopted the colonies as states, as equals, Puerto Rico, they've even voted to become a state. But we don't accept their people as fellow citizens. Instead, we militarily dominate them. We took them over. We're an empire. We're imperialist empires. We would be a smart republic if we accepted them, the people as citizens. Maybe go into sovereign nations with their permission if they say, like Puerto Rico, say, yes, we want to be a state. But instead, we just militarily dominate them. We don't respect them. We don't respect their people. We don't give them the right to vote. And we don't give them citizenship. They are being oppressed. So, of course, colonialism is imperialism. What the fuck else could imperialism be? You have to take over the damn capital and shit and then establish McDonald's? That's not imperialism. That is imperialism, but that's to be a socialist if I just, establish the destruction of McDonald's, but, take over another person's nation. Let other people decide for themselves. Do they want to be capitalist? Do they want to be communist? It's, self-determination. Let people decide for their own. It's their own economic, whatever well-being. Let them choose their own economics. So colonialism, imperialism, whatever you want to call it, it's fucking wrong. Fuck goddamn authoritarian, totalitarian, authoritarian oppression. Autocracy. Fuck autocracy. So it looks like to me that Putin is invading Ukraine. He's taken the Donetsk region, right? The Donetsk region and the Luhansk region. He's saying there are mostly Russians there, so therefore, Putin is, he is somewhat savvy in terms of like looking at the border regions and seeing which ones, he could annex, which ones can he grab a foothold in. And it's the foot in the door phenomenon. He was successful in Georgia. I thought he was, he failed in Georgia, but he was actually successful. He took those two regions in Georgia, done the exact same thing, said they're independent regions, they were their own republics. So in the nation state of Georgia, there's two little tiny republics. And now in the nation state of Ukraine, there's two little tiny republics, Donetsk and, Lubesk. When you combine them, they're the dumbass or the Donbass region. In 1898, after the Spanish-American War, we acquired Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines, and we massacred the shit out of the Philippines. Against their will. They want to be their own nation. We said, fuck no. We're an empire. We have colonies. Now, in some respects, socialism, socialist imperialism seems a little bit nicer than capitalist imperialism. And the USSR, their imperialism, expanding the workers of the world. Whereas you had Stalin, he just believed in communism in one country, so he wasn't for spreading communism by bayonet. All across the world, people do have, resentment. It is best to win people over by persuasion, by the power of your ideas, and by the power of your example. Many capitalist nations need to use the bayonet in order to force their system on others, and a dying capitalist imperialist nation will also need to, use their military. And you're not afraid of an empire when it's strong. You're afraid of the empire when it's dying, because then it's just going to lash out at anybody and everybody. So I'm going to come back here in a second. We're going to talk more Ukraine and Russia. We're going to figure this out together.